Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the New Orleans at the Superdome as the National Football League Conference champion Minnesota Vikings take on the American Football Conference champion Oakland Raiders. We are going to play the first Super Bowl game indoors today here in the New Orleans Superdome. The Raiders come in without the services of Phil Villapiano, Doug Atkinson, and John Vella, but of course the Vikings are missing perhaps the biggest key of the season, Fran Tarkenton. The Raiders finished the season at 11-3, had to win a wild card and go on the road in the playoffs, beating the Baltimore Colts in double overtime in what is being known as the Ghost of the Post, and then the Denver Broncos 20-17 in the AFC title game. The Minnesota Vikings, meanwhile, finished the season at 9-5. Here's Ken Stabler leading the Raiders out. The Vikings would then beat the Rams in the divisional playoff, travel down to Dallas, and shock the Cowboys, led by the General Bob Lee. And here come the Minnesota Vikings, led by the aforementioned Bob Lee. Bob Lee taking over for injured Fran Tarkenton. Lee is in his 8th season out of Arizona State. He has also played in the past for the Atlanta Falcons, where he had some of his best years. There's a look at Bud Grant already trying to work over the coaches. The referees, I mean. John Madden pumping up the Raiders. The Raiders are playing today in their 7th Super Bowl, and it is only the 12th one total. The Vikings, meanwhile, they're Super Bowl newbies. They're making their first appearance in the big game here in New Orleans. Down to the field for the coin toss. Referee showing the teams is called in the air by the Vikings, who are the road team for this game. And it appears the Raiders have won the toss as Ken Stabler is clapping. Okay, so the Raiders have won the toss. And they have decided to kick it off to Manfred Moore. Number 36, Earl Mann, tees it up. No, Ray Guy is going to be doing the kicking. And we are set to go here at the Super Bowl. Guy's kick is downfield. It is going to be taken on the goal line by Chuck Foreman. A surprise return man, and perhaps to get some extra pep in the Viking return. Bud Grant trying to settle the team down now. And out comes Bob Lee, having to take over when Tarkenton broke his leg. It is 1st and 10 at the 30. Lee is going to start right off in the shotgun. Spreads the receivers out, trying to... Raider secondary being short-staffed. Lee is back to pass. He's going to throw it. It is caught by Grimm. And he is slow to get up. Number 26, Bob Grimm, the 10th year player, a 1967 Viking draft pick. He is hit hard by Lester Hayes on the coverage. Almost a helmet-to-helmet looking shot. It'll bring up a 2nd and 4. Lee, he's going to hand it off to Chuck Foreman, and he is going to be met in the backfield by big number 74, Dave Rowe. and drop for a loss of 1. 3rd down 5 now. Lee in the shotgun once again. Steps up, he throws, it's complete to Ahmad Rashad for the 1st down. And the Vikings will continue the drive. First down, Charlie Phillips making the tackle. First and 10 now at the Viking 44. Lee hands it off to Foreman. He's going to bounce out and he is going to run into Monty Johnson, 4th-year linebacker out of Nebraska, who makes the stop. Here's a look at Mick Tinglehoff and the starting offensive line. Ed White and Ron Yeri anchoring the right side. Chuck Foreman, the all-purpose back who's gone over 1,000 yards. Sammy White and Ahmad Rashad are the receivers for Bob Lee. And Lee comes out 2nd down and 9. He's going to give it to Foreman. And Matuzak is right there to make the tackle. Slow developing play. John Matuzak, the twos, comes in, slams running down. Here's a look at the defensive line led by John Matuzak, Tony Klein. Floyd Rice steps in linebacker along with Ted Hendricks and Monty Johnson. Willie Brown, the ageless one, out on the left. Lester Hayes, 2nd-year corner, along with Jack Tatum, one of the safeties. 3rd down and 7 now. Lee fakes the handoff this time to Foreman. Foreman's going to stay back to help block. Lee throws it deep downfield, looking in the end zone. Touchdown, Minnesota! Bob Lee hitting on a deep touchdown pass to number 85, Sammy White, the 2nd-year receiver out of Grambling State. He beat Jack Tatum into the end zone. Lee showing off his arm strength. And the Vikings jump out first. Fred Cox, who has announced his retirement at the end of this game, kicks the extra point through, and Minnesota, in their first Super Bowl game, leads 7-0. The Oakland Raiders, of course, as we mentioned, are in their 7th Super Bowl, playing first in Super Bowl III, losing to the Cleveland Browns. They would come back in Super Bowl IV, led by Darryl LaMonica, the Mad Bomber, and get the victory over the Browns. Then Super Bowl V, losing to the San Francisco 49ers. After taking a 2-year hiatus, they came back to lose to the Dallas Cowboys in Super Bowl VIII. Cliff Branch on the return. He's out past the 30 to the 35. Oakland would then lose to the Los Angeles Rams and James Harris in Super Bowl IX, but came back in Super Bowl X as George Blanda, the ageless one, kicked a long field goal to win and give the Raiders their 2nd Super Bowl win. Ken Stabler comes out, the Snake, the 1976 league MVP, who fell just a game shy of appearing in a Super Bowl last year. This is his 4th Super Bowl start, a record. Stabler, he's going to give it to Clarence Davis, and Davis is going to be met in the backfield by number 59. No, looking at the Raiders. There's the starting offensive line, Art Shell and Gene Upshaw. Clarence Davis, running back with Fred Blitnikoff and Cliff Branch, receivers. An update on that tackle, it was number 69, Doug Sutherland, who made the tackle. 2nd down and 10 now for the Raiders, in a hole, down 7-0. Stabler back to pass. He hands it to Davis. Davis is going to pick up a couple, but Sutherland once again gets the tackle, and there is a flag on the play. Personal foul. It is going to be a face mask on Doug Sutherland. He had a little extra leverage to pull down Davis, and it gives the Raiders a 1st down up to their Viking 47-yard line. This game has all the makings of an offensive shootout by the way it started so far here in the Superdome. Stabler back to... No, he's going to hand it off. Clarence Davis. Davis is going to break through for the 1st down. He's now carried the ball on 3 consecutive plays. The ageless one, Jim Marshall, in on the tackle. Marshall in his 17th season out of Ohio State was able to get in there with a couple defensive backs. It's going to be 2nd and inches, the ball just shy of the 37. And there's a flag down. Looks like there's movement early on the Oakland line. Yep, that's going to back them up 5 yards and make it 2nd down and 5. As Art Shell, the 9th-year player out of Mid-Eastern Shore, he was a little anxious to get moving. Stabler under center. He's going to give it to Davis again. Davis gets the first down. Davis into the clear. He's inside the 30. 4 rushes on the game, 27 yards. As he's brought down by Jeff Seaman and Nate Wright. First and 10 now at the 29. Stabler in the shotgun. He's got Davis back there with him. Nope, there's a give to Carl Garrett. Garrett's going to get inside the 25 down to about the 24 before being stopped by Alan Page. Alan Page in his 10th year out of Notre Dame. First round draft pick in 1967. 2nd down and 6 for the Oakland Raiders. Stabler once again in the shotgun. There's a give to Carl Garrett again, and Garrett's going to get over the 20 and inside the 19, and he has a first down for the Raiders as they continue to run the ball and move down the field. The Raiders are normally your long pass offense. A give now to Davis. Davis breaks the tackle. He is going to get to about the 10-yard line, inside the 10 to the 9. After breaking an initial tackle, he now is leading this team in rushing. Doug Sutherland on the tackle. He is Sutherland trying to pump up the Viking D. We see here first as Davis gets away from McNeil. Fred McNeil. It'll be 2nd down and 1 at the 9-yard line. Stabler in the shotgun. He's going to give it to Clarence Davis once again. He's got the first down. It'll be a 1st and goal at the 7. Davis has carried the ball 6 times for 38 yards as this first quarter is coming to an end. That will most likely be the last play of the first quarter. The Raiders are moving the ball down the field. Ball control offense trying to get this game tied up. And the Raiders break the huddle, but they don't have enough time to get a play off. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the first quarter here at Super Bowl 12. It is the Minnesota Vikings leading the Oakland Raiders 7-0. Welcome back to New Orleans, to the Superdome. Stabler comes out of the huddle. He's got 3 running backs behind him. Stabler's going to drop back to pass. He throws it to Terry Robisky, and it is dropped. Stabler's first pass of the game comes in the second quarter here. Look at John Madden looking to be in the best shape of his life. Carl Eller gets down on all fours. He's coming after Stabler. Stabler in the shotgun. There's the give to Davis. Davis down to the 4-yard line. 7 carries, 41 yards, and it'll bring up a 3rd and goal. Stabler in the shotgun. 3rd down and goal from the 4. Back to pass. He throws it to the flat to Davis, and Davis is going to be pushed out of bounds. Number 22, Paul Krause, comes up, makes the tackle. 13th year out of Iowa, and that'll force the Raiders to send on Earl Mann and attempt a field goal. After a good drive down the field, it stalls. And John Madden is beside himself. This will be a 24-yard attempt for Mann. And the kick is up. And it's good, and that cuts the Viking lead to 7-3. Earl Mann out of the hold of David Hume puts it right through the uprights. Ray Guy with a kick. It's going to be taken down on the 4 by Manfred Moore. Moore out to the 25. He's going to get to about the 27-yard line, and that is where Bob Lee will take over. 23-yard return for Moore. There's a look at Sammy White, who caught the touchdown pass on the last drive. First down 10 at the 27-yard line. Lee in the shotgun. Lee is going to fake the handoff to Chuck Foreman. He's going to roll out. He throws it to Stu Voigt, the tight end, who runs over Ted Hendricks, and Voigt gets the first down. Unbelievable that Stu Voigt could do that. Stu Voigt on a little out pattern lowers his shoulder and lowers the stork. Monty Johnson brings him down just over the 40. We're going to see this play over and over, ladies and gentlemen. Stu Voigt at 6'1" lowers his shoulder on 6'9" Ted Hendricks. 6'7" Ted Hendricks, sorry. First down and 10 for the Vikings. There's the handoff to Chuck Foreman. And Foreman is going to pick up maybe one. It'll be a 2nd and 9. So the Vikings' game plan seems to be spread the Raiders out, throw it deep, a little bit of running by Chuck Foreman. The Raiders, meanwhile, have stuck to the ground, and Clarence Davis. Lee in the shotgun. He's back to pass. He's got plenty of time. He's going to throw over the middle. It is caught, and Bob Lee is 5 for 5 in the afternoon as Chuck Foreman catches the ball for a 5-yard gain. Chuck offense for the last 4 years, running out of Miami, Florida. Over 1,000 yards rushing in 77. Finally getting to play in the Super Bowl. Leaves, high snap, gives to Foreman. Foreman is going to get... Ted Hendricks is not going to let anybody run him over again. That time he stood Foreman up and forced a 4th down. From the 50, Neil Clabo will come on to punt. The 2nd-year punter out of Tennessee. He gets off looking for a coffin corner angle, and they're going to mark it out at the 25. It's a short punt, and it's 25 on the distance, and that's where the Raiders will take over with 3.5 to go in the half. Ken Stabler so far has only thrown 1 pass, and it was incomplete. Stabler comes up under center. Give us to Davis. Davis is going to pick up 5 yards before being tackled by number 54, Fred McNeil. Oakland has 54 yards of total offense to 93 for the Vikings. Stabler in the shotgun. 3 minutes to go in half. He's going to drop back this time. Throws it over the middle. Davis on the reception. Davis breaks the tackle by Paul Krause. Gets another yard before Jeff Seaman brings him down. And Stabler's today is 2 for 3 with 11 yards now. Clarence Davis has both receptions. Here, Davis shakes off Paul Krause. Seaman has to bring him down. First down and 10 at the 44-yard line. 2.5 to go before half. Stabler under center. And it's the Davis show once again. This time he's going to be stood up. Gains a yard maybe. That's 47 on the day. 3 passing attempts for Ken Stabler. None to Blitnikoff or Branch. The only one coming to tight end Terry Rubisky. And then the 2 completions to Clarence Davis, who's been the workload today, the workhorse. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Superdome in New Orleans. Second down and 9, the ball on the 45. Stabler back to pass. He's going to roll out. He throws it, caught by Warren Bankston. Bankston gets up 4 yards to the 49. It'll be 3rd and 5 as the Raiders now go into a no-huddle hurry-up offense. Stabler with no backs behind him drops back to pass. He floats the ball over and it is out of bounds. And the Vikings will get the ball back with just under 2 minutes to go and all 3 timeouts. It almost has the feel of a home crowd down here in New Orleans for the Vikings. Almost like we're in some kind of futuristic Minneapolis stadium. Ray Guy gets the punt away. And this one's going to be an even shorter kick. It went a total of 17 yards for one of the best punters in the league. Chuck Foreman has carried the ball 4 times for 5 yards. Sure, he'd like to get more involved in the game plan. With 1:40 left, the Vikings might be looking to get some more points. They lead 7-3. Lee back to pass. He's going to throw it out to Foreman on a swing pass. Monty Johnson makes the tackle. Bob Lee has started 6 for 6 for today. 89 yards and a touchdown. Foreman could not get out of bounds. The clock will run after a 3-yard pickup. Bob Lee in the shotgun. He's back to pass. Going to throw, and it is complete to Ahmad Rashad, and they'll get up to the 50. And a first down. Bob Lee, 7 of 7, 102 yards. Putting on a clinic today. The Raiders' Super Bowl bug, or jinx if you will, seems to be biting them once again. And the Vikings will call timeout. So here's the game reset. The Vikings have the ball. 1st and 10 at the 50. They lead 7-3 with 1:01 to go before half. Bob Lee is in the shotgun. He has completed all 7 passes he's thrown. He's back to pass once again. He is going to be hit, and he is going to be dropped for a sack, and the Vikings are going to have to call timeout. As Ted Klein, who was picked back up for the Super Bowl, gets in there and gets the sack. Klein, who did not play with the Raiders in '77, well, the extra roster spots, Klein was picked back up for this game. Second and 21 from the 38. Lee in the shotgun. He's back to pass. He's going deep. He's caught by Ahmad Rashad. It is going to be a pickup of about 20 yards. It'll be 3rd and 1. Ahmad Rashad, the 5th-year player out of Oregon, the former St. Louis Cardinal and Buffalo Bill, coming up big so far on this drive with 2 huge catches. Lester Hayes on the coverage. It'll be a 3rd and 1 now. 32 seconds and the clock is ticking. The Vikings have 1 timeout. Lee back to pass. He's going to step up. He's going to throw it out, and Ahmad Rashad is going to catch it, and they're going to say he got out of bounds with 24 seconds to spare. Lester Hayes on the coverage. He hit Rashad before he went out of bounds, but the momentum of the tackle would have taken him out anyway. Lee in the shotgun, 1st and 10. He's back to pass. It is almost intercepted as Willie Brown, the ageless one, was out on coverage in his 14th season out of Grambling State. If he could have picked that off, that would have been a hell of a play. Second down and 10 from the 36. 19 seconds to go before half. Lee back to pass. The Foreman. And Foreman is going to be hit and dropped by number 47, Charlie Phillips. And the Vikings are going to have to use their final timeout with 10 seconds left and a 3rd down coming up. One here has to be thinking that the Raiders, the Vikings, oh, they are going to go for field goal. It's going to be a 50-yarder by Fred Cox. There's the place. The kick is low, and it is going to go under the crossbar. No good for the 14th-year kicker out of Pittsburgh. The former Cleveland Brown, drafted in 1961. The hold by Tommy Kramer was good. Man just didn't have the distance on it. So with 6 seconds left, the Raiders have the ball back. Stabler comes out in the shotgun. He's got 3 receivers to the left. Cliff Branch is all one-on-one down on the bottom of your screen. Stabler back to pass. He throws. It is knocked away, and there will be 2 seconds left on the clock. Both men are slow to get up. Morris Bradshaw was the intended receiver. He jumped high for the ball, but he was hit and it was knocked away. It would have been a tough play to make had he come down with it. Bobby Bryant on the hit. They would have immediately had to get a time off. Now you're going to be looking possibly at a Hail Mary type play, the one that burnt the Vikings in the 75 playoffs. Stabler back to pass. Throws it deep. It is knocked in the air, and it is knocked way down into the end zone, and it will fall harmlessly incomplete. As Mike Ciani had a chance at the rebound after it was first hit. And we are at the half. The Minnesota Vikings lead the Oakland Raiders 7-3. John Madden will lead the Raiders in as their offense has been punchless. The running game has been working, but there's been no passing game for Ken Stabler. The Minnesota Vikings, on the other hand, just the opposite. No running out of them. They only have 7 yards rushing, but 120 through the air, as Bob Lee has been perfect on the day. Here's the touchdown catch. Oh, Bob Lee has had a drop. He's 10 of 11. Chuck Foreman, 4 carries, 5 yards. There's the sack by Ted Klein. Stabler, 3 of 7, 15 yards on the day. There's another look at the sack as Lee turned right into him. Here's Lee completing the pass to Ahmad Rashad, which would set up the missed field goal. Low-scoring Super Bowl. And the Raiders were heavily favored coming into this by about 6.5 points. It is taken by Carl Garrett on the 2. He is going to be hit and dropped at the 23-yard line. And that is where the Raiders will take over. 1st and 10. Clarence Davis on the day, 9 carries, 47 yards. No touchdowns as of yet. The Raiders, who stuffed out Bronco Mania, crushed the Orange Crush to make it to their 7th Super Bowl. Stabler hands it off to Davis. Davis is going to be hit and dropped in the backfield. Coming up to make the play, Paul Krause. Another one of these veteran Vikings playing in their first Super Bowl. Krause in his 13th season out of Iowa. Drafted by the Washington Redskins and the Denver Broncos in '64, he signed with the Redskins. Stabler hands it off to Davis, and Davis is going to be hit, and he is going to be taken down. Jim Marshall ran the right way to make that tackle. Well, another former Cleveland Brown. Played 1 year in Cleveland before being left open in the expansion draft, and Minnesota selected him, and he has started every game for the Minnesota Vikings franchise ever, including now their crowning achievement, Super Bowl 12. It is a 3rd and 11 as the running all of a sudden is not working. Bolitnikoff is in the slot down on the bottom of your screen. Stabler back to pass. He's going to throw. It's caught by Mike Siani. Siani is going to pick up about 10 yards, though, and come up short of the first down. 9 yards officially on the reception. 4th down and 2, and Ray Guy will have to come on and try and do better than his original punt that only went about 17 yards. Guy stands on the 17. Gets off a much better punt. It's going to be taken on the 18 by Manfred Moore. Moore is going to get up to the 30. It's going to be a net of 39 yards on this one. For a 10-yard return, it was a 49-yard punt. And here comes Bob Lee, 10 of 11 on the day. Looking to have the greatest day of his career, if he can pull this off. Lee, there's the handoff to Chuck Foreman. He is going to be ripped down at the point of impact by Mike McCoy. No gain for Foreman. Lee in the shotgun. Lee back to pass. Steps up, he fires a rocket to Ahmad Rashad. That's his 3rd reception of the day. It is going to be a gain of 25 yards and a 1st down. Lester Hayes makes the touchdown saving tackle. First down at the 44. Lee hands off to Foreman. This time there is a big hole, and Foreman is going to get 10 yards and a 1st down. That was Foreman's first breakout tackle. Skip Thomas comes up to make the stop. Breakout run, I should say. When we talked with Foreman before the game, he said he wanted to have a big game. You never know when you're going to get all opportunities like this. When we think about all the times Fran Tarkenton has taken him to the NFC title game and they couldn't get over the hump until an injury put Bob Lee in there, and they're here. And Lee is going to go down. He is going to be hit and dropped by John Matuzak. Matuzak, a little wild with his celebration, just ran right over Bob Lee once again. 2nd down and 15. Tony Klein put the pressure on Lee. With the Vikings leading 7-3, they have a 2nd down on the 39-yard line. 15 to go for the first. 3 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Lee is going to give it to Foreman. Foreman is going to make a move, and he is going to pick up 14 yards and bring up a 3rd and 1. Chuck Foreman now has 29 yards on the day. After a slow start, his last 2 runs have gone for 24 yards. The Raiders don't seem to have any answer. Lee fakes the handoff, and he is going to be run over by the Stork. Ted Hendricks comes right in on the blitz, sacks Lee down for a loss of 9, and will bring up a 4th down up to 33, forcing about a 51-yard field goal attempt. If they're going to try it with Fred Cox, he missed the 50-yarder. It was short. Let's see what Bud Grant decides to do. They're going to go for it. It is going to be just over 50 yards. They're going to put the ball down just outside the 40. Let's see if Fred Cox can make it up. It is blocked. It is blocked. It is picked up by Jack Tatum. And Jack Tatum, oh man, he is going to score. Touchdown Raiders! The block field goal. Jack Tatum, the assassin, picks it up and he goes the distance on about a 50-yard blocked field goal return. Let's see who gets the block. It is number 20, Neil Colsey, the second-year man out of Ohio State. Tatum picks up the block, and Earlman's extra point is good, and all of a sudden the Raiders, who've had no offense, have taken a 10-7 lead. Jack Tatum in his 6th year out of Ohio State, so it was an Ohio State Buckeye blocked it, an Ohio State Buckeye picked it up and scored. Buckeyes all around. Here's the kick by man. Foreman takes it on the 2. He is going to make a spin move and stay on his feet and get over the 30 to 33 before finally going down. 28 yards on the return. And all of a sudden now Bob Lee, who has done nothing wrong in the game, is trailing. He is 11 of 12, 157 yards. The long touchdown to Sammy White early in the game. Lee comes up under center. 1:36 to go in the third. Lee hands it off Chuck Foreman. Big hole, and Foreman is going to get up to the 42 on a 9-yard carry. Foreman and Monty Johnson have some words when he gets up. Foreman ran over Big Dave Rowe. 2nd down and 1. Lee calls the signals. He's going to give Foreman, it's a 1st down carry. And Jack Tatum, the star of the game so far, makes the tackle. But it is a 1st down for the Vikings. Jack Tatum comes in with a tremendous hit on Foreman to take him down. First and 10 for the Vikings. 34 seconds to go before the end of the third. Lee gives this time. It's to Sammy Johnson. Sammy Johnson playing for the injured Brett McClanahan in his 3rd year out of North Carolina. Loses a yard, and ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the third quarter. With 1 to go here in Super Bowl 12, it is the Oakland Raiders 10, Minnesota Vikings 7. And we're back in the Superdome for the penultimate moment here, the final stanza. The Vikings have the ball, 2nd 11, going the other way now on the 45. Bob Lee comes up under center. He's back to pass. He's got some time. He throws over the middle. It is caught by Ahmad Rashad again. He picks up 4 and a 3rd and 7. Rashad has 6 receptions so far in the Super Bowl for 78 yards. Third down and 7 from the 49. Bob Lee, who's had a near perfect performance today in the shotgun. He's back to pass. Here comes the rush, and Dave Rowe is going to catch him. No, that's Tony Klein once again. He catches him and brings him down. 4th down and 9. Neil Clable will come on to punt it back to the Raiders. And the only bright side for the Vikings here is that the Raiders offense has done nothing so far. Claybo gets the punt off. It is going to go winding out of bounds at the 20, and that is where the Raiders will take over. With 5 minutes and 49 seconds to go, Clarence Davis, who has 46 yards on the day, he has been the offense. Stabler taking his time into the shotgun. He's got Davis to his right. Siani and Politnikov on the bottom of your screen. Stabler's going to give it to Davis. Davis is going to make a whole move past McNeil. And picks up 4 yards, 2nd down and 6. From the 24, Stabler, high snap, gives the handoff to Davis. Davis wide open, gets a huge hole. He is going to pick up about 14 on the carry to the 38-yard line. It was a really high snap coming out of Dave Dalby. Stabler's able to catch it, hand it off to Davis. Davis breaks into the secondary before Jim Marshall can bring him down. Unbelievable the way the game has turned here in the second half on one blocked field goal. Stabler got an I formation behind him. Gives it to Davis. Davis is going to get by Carl Eller. Carl Eller is going to catch him when Davis makes a move past Jeff Wright. But he's got the first down again, and the Raiders have gone over 100 yards of offense. Mostly on the ground by Clarence Davis. Stabler once again gives to Davis. Davis sidesteps one. He's going to pick up 6 yards on the carry. He is over 82 for the game. 15 carries, 82 yards. Second down and 5 with the ball resting on the 43-yard line of the Vikings. The Vikings need a big defensive stop here. Stabler handed off to Carl Garrett. Garrett's going to get the first down before Jim Marshall can bring him down. And a first down for the Raiders. Jim Marshall and Fred McNeil on the tackle. 1st and 10 at the 38 of the Vikings. Stabler once again with 2 backs behind him. There's a handoff to Carl Garrett. Oddly enough, Mark Van Egan, who led the Raiders in rushing, has not carried the ball today. We're not sure why that is. Second down and 10 after the Davis run. Stabler's going to have to hurry if he's going to get the snap off. Low snap this time. Hands it to Davis. Big hole, wide open. Clarence Davis, 16 carries, 96 yards, and a first down inside the 25-yard line. And that, folks, is the 2-minute warning. So with 2 minutes to go, the ball at the 24, the Raiders lead the Vikings 10-7. And Stabler will go over to talk to Madden to come up with a game plan. The Raiders, who are 2-4 in the Super Bowl, victories over Cleveland in Super Bowl 4 and the Rams in Super Bowl 10, have 2 minutes to go for the third Tom Landry Trophy. Stabler hands it to Davis. Davis is going to run right into the Viking defender, and he's going to take him down. Second down, and the Vikings are going to start. Bobby Bryant on the tackle. The Vikings are going to start burning their timeouts, trying to hold the Raiders to a field goal. Second and 10 from the 24. Minute 56 to go. Stabler under center. Here's the gift to Davis. Davis is going to be dropped. Matt Blair with a tremendous hit. And the Vikings call another timeout. You look at the Raider offense today. No catches for Politnikov. No catches for Cliff Branch. No catches for Dave Casper, who basically was the hero of the Baltimore game. It's been all Clarence Davis today. And high snap. Once again, the give to Davis. Davis is going to sidestep and get down. It'll be a 4th and 1. The Vikings used their last time out. So they're going to bring on Earl Man to try and give the Raiders a 6-point lead. The ball is on the 14. This will be a 31-yard attempt. Earl Man deciding to kick left-footed today. The kick is up. And it's good. Somebody forgot to switch the button on there. And the Raiders have taken a 13-7 lead. Now, Bob Lee, who's had a wonderful day, will get the ball with 1:40 to go or so and no timeouts. It's a short kick. Chuck Foreman on the 2. He's going to bring it over the 20 before he is bowled over by number 53, Rod Martin. Bob Lee today, 12 of 13, 161 yards and a touchdown. He should be the Super Bowl MVP if not for the fact that the Vikings are trailing the Raiders on the Jack Tatum blocked field goal return. Ball on the 22. Lee back to pass. He's going to throw it. It's caught to Foreman. Foreman's going to get a first down, but he stays in bounds, gets to the 36, and the clock is ticking, and the Vikings have to move. Lee back to pass. Throws it. Oh, man, he had a man. He had Sammy White had a step, and that is only the second incompletion Bob Lee has thrown today. 2nd down and 10 from the 36. Lee back to pass. Throws it out to Foreman. Foreman's going to be hit by Willie Brown, and it stays in bounds. The clock will continue to move. 3rd down and 6. Lee fakes the handoff. Foreman stays in the block. He's got plenty of time. He's going to throw deep. A diving catch by tight end Stu Voigt, and they are into the 35, but the clock is moving. The Vikings hurrying up. That was a good over-the-shoulder look at John Madden. Lee, he's going to ground the ball and stops the clock with 47 seconds, and we are set for high drama here in the Super Bowl. There's a look at Jack Tatum, who has the only Raider touchdown on the day. Bob Lee in the shotgun. 35 yards from a touchdown that would be a Super Bowl victory. John Matuzak with a hell of a hit. Lee never saw him coming. That's his 2nd sack of the day, and the clock will continue to move. 3rd down and 16. The Viking receivers are way down in the end zone. They've got to come all the way back. Lee back to pass, and the blitz is on. It's a fumble. It's recovered by the Raiders. Tony Klein on the recovery. Lee was hit, and the big play that just won the Raiders the Super Bowl. Monty Johnson hits Lee, doesn't see the ball. Klein picks it up, and the Raiders are going to win themselves their 3rd Lombardi Trophy. Sammy Johnson makes a touchdown-saving tackle. There's a good look at Biletnikoff and Stabler coming on the field. Stabler probably trying to tell Biletnikoff why he hasn't had a reception today. The Vikings with 2 turnovers. The blocked field goal and now the fumble. And Stabler will just take a knee. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will do it. The Oakland Raiders are going to win the Super Bowl for the 3rd time in their franchise history. The 2nd in a row for the AFC, who has struggled to get Super Bowl victories here in the early going of the history of the game. And ladies and gentlemen, that will do it. Your 1977 Super Bowl 12 champion Oakland Raiders. The Vikings, who played a near perfect game, 2 costly mistakes, a blocked field goal, and the fumble. Jack Tatum celebrating. There's the meeting between Coach Noel, or Madden and Grant. Bob Lee played a great game, but his mistake at the end cost the Vikings in their first Super Bowl appearance. And how many of these Vikings will be calling it a career after this? We already know that Fred Cox has announced his retirement. Here's some of the highlights. Ahmad Rashad with 7 receptions on the day. Bob Lee only threw 2 incompletions all day long. There's the deep one to Stu Voigt in the 4th quarter. It looked like the Vikings were driving for a touchdown. Here's the tail end of Jack Tatum's touchdown. The touchdown pass in the 1st quarter to Sammy White. And the MVP has been announced. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not Mark Vinny. Again, the cameras are on the wrong guy. Jack Tatum has been announced as your Super Bowl MVP with his blocked field goal return of 50 yards for the touchdown. And the Raiders are Super Bowl champions. Thank you for joining us in the month of February for the alternate Super Bowl. Make sure you're back on the last Sunday in March to join us for alternate Super Bowl 13 from the Orange Bowl in Miami. It will be the Los Angeles Rams returning to the game once again. This time their opponent, the Houston Oilers. Earl Campbell in the Super Bowl. Until next month, I'm Vinny Vincent, and you're not.